Hi guys, welcome back. I have been sick. You might hear it in my voice a little bit. This lingers forever. So I haven't been recording, but I am back. I'm so happy to be recording a new episode for you here today. I'm back in my bedroom. My husband keeps asking me why I record these in my bedroom, but I'm Emily, your big sister in finance. And where do sisters chat? In your bedroom. So here we are, and let's get into it. Okay, so tell me why people making six figures are still broke. Because if you're not there yet, it sounds ridiculous, right? You're like, if I made 10K a month, I would never stress about money again. And yet, here's the wild part, almost half of people making over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. How is that possible? How do you make that much money and still feel broke? Well, it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't care. And listen, if this is you, I get it. You're not lazy. It's because when your income grows, your expenses, your expectations grow right along with it. And it's why some people making 60K actually feel a lot richer than people making 140K. Because growing wealth, being rich, and not stressing about money is not about how much you earn. It's about how much of it you keep and whether your money's building freedom or just funding stress. Hi, I'm Emily, your big sister in finance and founder of Sora, where we make personal finance clear, relatable, and actually useful for us figuring out life and money together. Today, we're going to be breaking down exactly how this happens, why the high earners secretly struggle, and how you can avoid ever ending up here yourself. And if this is something you're into, then keep watching. And at the end, I'm going to give you the high earner game plan for how to increase your lifestyle and your investments. Okay, so when you start earning more, you expect life to get easier. Bills, no problem. Vacations, finally. But what happens is actually something called lifestyle creep, and it's sneaky. So every time your income goes up, your expenses rise right alongside with it. A nicer apartment, a new car, upgraded clothes, dinners out because I've earned it. And honestly, you have earned it. But if your lifestyle grows at the same rate of your income, your savings rate never changes. You end up stuck at the same stress level, just with better furniture. And here's the part that no one talks about. As you start earning more, you usually start surrounding yourself with people who make even more than you. The average salary in the US is around $60,000. If you're making double or triple that, you're probably in a professional field surrounded by other well-educated, ambitious professionals also making more than the average American. So when it comes to day-to-day comforts and the small luxuries, you're not comparing yourself to your old college roommates anymore. You're comparing yourself to coworkers taking ski trips in Aspen, friends putting their kids in private school, families with live-in nannies and designer everything. Suddenly, your normal shifts. Vacations aren't just road trips, they Europe, first class. Kids' activities aren't soccer and piano, they're private tutors and elite clubs. And your definition of doing well starts moving faster than your paycheck. So the reason this happens, it isn't just financial, it's psychological. We adapt to comfort fast. That dopamine hit from spending wears off and you return to your baseline, still wanting more. And that's how high earners end up in the exact same cycle as low earners. Money in, money out, and zero left over. It's easy to say how out of touch people become when their new normal looks so different from the average Americans. And in a lot of ways, that's true. But we have to remember that just because there's more zeros at the end of it, the emotional aspect of trying to keep up with your peers, comparing yourself, and adapting to new comforts exists at every income level. Okay, so let's talk about fixed costs, rent, car payments, and subscriptions, all the non-negotiables. Here's the rule I teach all my students. If your fixed expenses are more than 50 to 60% of your take-home pay, you're trapping yourself because that means you have no flexibility. And high earners fall into this trap fast. They qualify for bigger apartments, larger loans because their paycheck is bigger, not necessarily because their wealth is greater. And start thinking, if I can afford the payment, I can afford the lifestyle. But that's not true. Affording the payment isn't the same as affording the life that comes with it. If you're paying with everything from your paycheck and not from your built wealth and investments, you can't take a pay cut. You can't quit your job. And once you upgrade, it is extremely difficult to downsize again because your lifestyle just won't let you. That's what people mean when they say they're wearing the golden handcuffs. From the outside, it looks glamorous, the paycheck, the perks, the polished image. But on the inside, it's a trap made of comfort and fear. And that's how you can make a $200,000 a year and have no breathing room if your fixed costs are too high. So, what's the good news? Golden handcuffs may look expensive, but they're not locked. You can loosen them one decision at a time, downsizing a little, canceling what doesn't serve you, and most importantly, redefining what success means to you. Freedom isn't about making more, it's about needing less. So if you're feeling broke despite your income, your fixed costs are going to be the first place to look. Okay, so here's another thing that people don't talk about when it comes to making more money. The more you earn, the more easily your income becomes a tool for justifying bad money habits. So think about it. You work hard, you're stressed, you're exhausted from deadlines, meeting, or just the constant hustle. And maybe your ego is a little bit inflated with that fancy work title. So you tell yourself, I deserve this. Sure, sometimes you do deserve it, but here's the catch. When every purchase becomes a reward for working hard or reaching a certain rung on the social and career ladder, your money stops being a tool for freedom and starts being a paycheck to paycheck cycle of instant gratification. You end up working for your rewards instead of your freedom. Your money never truly feels like it's working for you, it's just working against your long term goals. And no matter how much you earn, the stress, the luxuries, the catch up spending, it keeps building. So, what's the alternative? How do you break this cycle? You flip the script. Instead of saying, I deserve this, start saying, I deserve options. Options means having the power to make decisions that align with your life, not just your next craving or impulse. Options to quit your job, to take a real break when you're burnt out. Options to move cities, start a business, have kids, chase a dream you've been putting off. When you make spending choices through the lens of freedom rather than the instant reward, every dollar becomes a tool for creating life flexibility. And that's real financial power. That's what makes money feel like it's working for you instead of the other way around. So, next time you feel tempted to reward yourself for all the hard work, just take a breath. Ask yourself, does this purchase give me joy today or does it give me freedom for tomorrow? Because the truth is, the rewards that really matter aren't the ones that fit in your cart, they're the ones that fit into your life. And that's exactly the kind of freedom that we're chasing. Okay, so as promised, here is my high earner game plan for my high income but stressed out friends out there so you can make the most of your money and your freedom. Number one, automate your future first. Before a single bill gets paid, before rent, before anything, your savings and investing happen automatically. Even 10 to 20% of your income routed straight into savings or Roth IRA. And yes, you actually have to invest it, not just put it in your Roth IRA. If you don't see it, you're not going to spend it. And when you get an increase in income for the first 12 months, put that extra money directly into investments or savings, and then start thinking about spending it. The extra boost you've given your account during those 12 months is going to make a massive difference down the line. All right, step two, track your lifestyle creep. After every raise, every promotion, you find yourself wanting to upgrade, start thinking of these expenses as long term, not just a one time expense. So if you sign your kid up for private horseback riding lessons, expect to be paying not just for the fall semester, but for years. If you book a business class airline seat, ask yourself, am I going to be able to afford this every time I travel? If the answer is no, hold off until you feel like you can comfortably afford it on a continuing basis, not just as a one time expense. This is how to avoid the small luxuries becoming a fixed staple that will slowly steal your investments and you can properly budget for them instead. Okay, tip number three, build a buffer. This is your anti-anxiety account. 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash. So if something goes wrong, your world doesn't collapse. And when you get more money in income, you start spending more. those 3 to 6 months of expenses also are going to go up, which means you need to allocate more into your emergency fund. All right, step number 4, redefine rich. Being rich isn't about brand names or aesthetics. It's about peace. It's the ability to say no without fear, the FU money, so to speak. Because money doesn't buy happiness, it buys freedom from worry. The people who get it, and those who don't, don't. Okay, so this is the part that most people skip. You can't build wealth with the same mindset that kept you broke. If you grew up hearing money is stressful or rich people are greedy, your brain might actually resist saving because subconsciously you don't want to become what you've been taught to judge. So ask yourself, what stories about money did I inherit? Which of them no longer serve me? You can't manage your money better until you see yourself as someone who does. So start saying, I'm someone who handles money with confidence. I'm someone who builds wealth intentionally. It sounds small, but this identity shift is what sticks when motivation eventually will fade. So, if you're making good money but still feel broke, don't shame yourself. You're not bad with money, you're just untrained. The good news, you're already ahead. You have the income. That's going to be your biggest wealth generator. Now it's about alignment. So start with one change, and I promise the peace that comes from the control feels better than any luxury purchase ever could. And if this resonated with you, hit the like and subscribe and share this with a friend who's always saying, I make good money, but I'm still broke. You're not alone, but we're not staying here.